Um, Now, let's say they have the vision. What are some of the things you look for in terms of, all right, well, they have the vision now. Can I see if they deliver? I think you mentioned one of them, like how good you could code. So I want to translate this and correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically how fast you can ship and iterate, right?
Yeah.
Deliver, right? So that's like on the technical side, right? Now on the marketing side, you also said, if you're good at market, it's like two parts of the same equation. So on the marketing side, what are some metrics that you might look for? That indicate like, okay, these guys they can do marketing, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Twitter's like, for better for worse, probably the most obvious and like easiest metric to like check, you know? Or I always check how many Twitter followers do you have. And it's it's not like, 500 followers is automatic no, or 100,000 followers is an automatic yes. But I'm definitely going to look at your Twitter, see if it's more just about have you been engaging and like, again, there are going to be really early stage projects here. So there's a lot of leeway given. But I want to check your Twitter page and just, yeah, see how many followers, but also just see how you choose to engage with the community. Like, are you are you trying to connect with people? Um, are you trying to connect with the community? Because some builders, they just get an idea and they're convinced that this idea is great. I don't care if anyone believes me right now or not. I know I'm right. And they just build and build and build, and they might build like a really cool product, but maybe no one actually needs it or cares about it. And so they launch this great product and there's silence because no one needs it or wants it.
Great product,
So
quotation marks, right? Great product, but doesn't make money.
yeah, it's like maybe you built like a technically sound product, but it's not useful. So I want to see that there's engagement. Discord too, um, might be, between Discord and Twitter, um, maybe a Telegram chat, but that's probably late, like further down the line with investors or something. But yeah, that there's engagement with users and you're taking feedback and you have people that are like actually interested in it. Um, so
Yeah.
that's definitely one. And like the actual product itself. And again, like the caveat is this is very early, so depending on what you're building, this may not be possible, but if possible, your actual product, like your website, does your website um attract my eye? Like is your UI at whatever stage it's in, is the UI um interesting? Like, is it easy to use, whatever you have? Color schemes and stuff like that. Like it's kind of important. Like, does it catch someone's eye? Do I want to stay on this page? Um, does stuff work? Whatever, even if it's bare bones, like, do things work when I click on it? Um, and also like a deck, like whatever materials you have, is pretty important. Like I don't think it's that hard to put together a 10-page deck. So I think you should have that early, even if there isn't a ton to say, just have a deck that looks pretty good, is easy to read, can go through it pretty quickly, hits all the main points. Um, it's all like these things that can have like small details can, I think, really matter. Um, as we're flipping through a bunch of decks each day, like things as simple as color schemes I think can actually make a difference.
Wonderful. No, those are all great advice. Now, let's say they do all this. They have the vision, they've proven they can ship right. There's at least something on testnet or, like a proof of concept that you could take a look at. The UI looks, like not perfect, but hey, this is like good for this how early it is, and then they've shown proof of traction, and they've engaged in the community through Twitter or whatever means, yeah, whatever their market segment is, and all the boxes seem to check off now. What is it like the next step? Like how should, like, what are some tips for founders to begin closing the deal, right? Like what happens next? What's like the follow-up to close the deal? Like what's your advice on that?
So with all that stuff in place, I mean, you're in a pretty good position to like start raising capital. Um, I think, I think really early stage, yes, it's important who's on your cap table, but it's more important to get money, in my opinion. I think your next raise, like a pre-seed, you really just need money. And I mean, if you have friends and family that'll give you $1 million to like kickstart the project, just do it. Maybe try to get some VCs involved because we can help out further down the line. But early stage, it's really just important to get the money and build the project and like keep it alive. So I think you try to cast a pretty wide net. Again, being in the startup lab, like you're already in a pretty good seat, given Albert's connections and connections of other founders who have raised further rounds. They're probably in touch with a lot of VCs. So I would like really leverage your network here. Um, I think the cohorts ahead of you, especially the last one, like we funded 5 or 6 projects in the last cohort. There are a lot of really great projects there. Like whatever founders from them, um, get all of their venture contacts, get them to introduce you to all the venture funds they know. Um, get as many warm introductions as you can, and just really cast that net wide. And like, it's gonna suck. I mean, I know a lot of builders don't love raising funds. It's not what, you're in this business for. Um, but it's kind of a necessary evil to to live and to, get investments and get money to keep going. So I think you just have to mentally prepare and know that you're gonna have to take like 100 calls. If you're lucky, the more calls, the better. And you're probably not going to have a lot of fun, giving the same pitch over and over and over again, but it's what you have to do. Um, and yeah, just really cast that wide net, do all the things that we've just been talking about, go through your deck. And yeah, so I think depending on how big your fund's going to be, you may or may not want to lead. Previous rounds, you'll probably want to lead investor. Pre-seed, you don't really need a lead. It could be helpful. You're gonna need help drafting docs, but like these days, they're pretty boilerplate templates for a SAFT or safe plus warrant. It's like it won't be really hard to get your hands on the standard docs available. Um, a lead can help with that, but you don't necessarily need it. One of the investors could probably help you. But you want to cobble together, depending on how much you're raising, 3, 5, maybe more, but pre-seed, you might not need more than like 5 investors, maybe 10. Um, and yeah, if you're really lucky or you're crushing it and you're oversubscribed, like you want to take money from people that share your vision, that you think can help you. Um, Again, if like you have 5 investors that are willing to give you the money that you need, um, and you don't necessarily think they're going to be super helpful to you beyond the money, like just take the money and move on and like, really focus on having a strong round the next time. But if you're in a position where you can choose your investors, like think about who has connections, who's going to be able to connect you with Exchanges, that's a really big thing. Anytime you can get an exchange or someone very close to an exchange on the cap table, that's huge. Exchange listings have been like really hard to come by these days. So that's a really big thing. Market makers, I don't think they really do much pre-seed, but they're not, I don't know if they're great to be leading rounds. I don't even know if that's really a thing, pre-seed, but you know, find funds that have a vision, maybe whatever ecosystem you're in, probably Bitcoin. You know, have a strong presence there. They know a lot of other projects, like maybe they have a big list of portfolio companies that you think there are synergies between that they can introduce you to.